because I was just connecting when the boys are here. Or
Daily basis, I'm put in front of people that the CEO is saying, you have to take care of this leader.
two great questions. I'd say it's very true. The very best of leaders have probably come close to a burnout.
Who's the person behind the persona? And especially with you, Rana, and Michael, who are absolute bona fide influencers on this platform, who people look up to.
I'm not an influencer, by the way.
No, believe me.
Thank you, but
Michael surely is, but the first person who
Michael
you think
doesn't like that word either.
I just fainted.
Yeah, but there ain't no other word for it.
There isn't. So, well, you influence people and you motivate people.
Can you just like pull out a thesaurus and find a better? I mean, just anything but that. Anyway, I know what you meant.
No, but I mean, it's an honor that you're saying that. I'm grateful for that. But
and that's not a false modesty. It's just been one of those things that's been, as we all can appreciate, has been kind of overcooked everywhere.
Yes. Absolutely. No, I agree with that. I do agree with that. But unfortunately, the sun still rises in the east and sets in the west, even though we may want to name it the other way.
Great comeback. Great comeback.
Thanks, Michael. Michael, tell us something about yourself that ideally your social media followers and we wouldn't guess about you, that you perhaps may not have shared with others around you, which you're comfortable with.
Some of the stuff that I talk about, I still work on and work with. I mean, Rana's known me 2 years. She knows full well. I mean, so sometimes when I like it when I get to hear, and I mean this with all respect, when I hear people talk about being an expert in a field, expertise for me is an ongoing process. You get to levels of competency and understanding and however you want to measure that. But it's, for me, some of the things that I talk about are still relevant. When I talked about depression, in all candor, there's nothing in my world that I couldn't see where that couldn't happen again. I'm more knowledgeable and I'm more prepared and more willing to get and ask for help in that process. But by doing that series, that wasn't like, I still have to battle the temptation to go in there, or not temptation, but the draw into the things that took me there. So, I just want to be clear with the audience that for me, what I want to be relevant to what needs to be heard and the things that I'm passionate about, but they're still close to me. And in some cases, some of that's still a work in progress. I'd say the other thing to add to it is that whole thing that I talk about, really transitioning from, a day job and really trying to transition to be available for the kids, was really a huge, terrifying step of faith that made like a career coach would have told me I was crazy. And some of them did. And looking back now, I love speaking about it in a soft and sensitive way for people that are going through it, because I've been there. And I can still remember it like it's yesterday.
No, Michael, seriously. I mean, your inputs and insights regarding your shares are truly inspirational, and you have no idea how many people it touches who don't even reach out to acknowledge it or appreciate it. So your vulnerability just shows your genuineness, which is so important. And that just shows that you do have a heart of gold, mate. So as long as you can count on one hand people who actually value you and value you as a person, are way more, or even one person more, than people who actually want to put you down all the time.
Yeah,
you're doing well. So thank you. Keep doing what you're doing, Michael. Really inspirational. Rana, tell us something about yourself which we wouldn't guess.
Okay, so I guess I'm not as transparent as Michael when it comes to my content. As you see, it's just very educational.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things
Blow us away.
Would not guess. Like, I can give you 20 things, but I'll give you one.
Sure.
My passion and my dream is has always been to be a fiction writer, and I've written lots of short short stories. I've written a novel. I've written stories that have won awards, and it sometimes upsets me that I can't share that on LinkedIn. Not upsets me. It's like, I wish I could just share my writing on LinkedIn because I love it. But obviously I can't because I want to be focused on sales. That's what I want to do. But yeah, so that's one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I write fiction or screenwriting, or I studied acting and filmmaking. So that's my background.
Oh, that's fantastic. Would never have guessed that.
Someday I'll become like Michael. I'll just be, hey, this is my story. This is what I do.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, you've got someone who's a work in progress here, mate. So
I have to follow in his footsteps.
I think I've had influence there with Rana. There's been some vulnerable stuff on the podcast.
I'm looking forward to the Chronicles of Rana coming up.
Oh yeah, once I wrote, just to give you a quick story, I once wrote how I have dyslexia, and I sent out email marketing, and one of the people that received it sent back to me a rude email saying, oh, I can't believe you made the spelling mistake. You're so unprofessional. And I shared that story on LinkedIn, and there was a guy who was my client. He was showing one of his clients about this. Oh, look at this superstar on LinkedIn. And then he starts scrolling and he sees that post. And then he says to me, I got embarrassed to show them that post. He's like, why are you sharing that? Yeah. I mean, that's the type of people I deal with, that the corporate, I don't, if it was entrepreneurs, different story. Like I'll dance around with a potato sack, but when you're dealing with those people that don't understand, they don't get vulnerability. They don't get sharing stories. Like you talk about depression, they kind of close off and like, oh my God, what's wrong with him? Like they sit there trolling. Don't you agree, Michael?
Yeah, on that series, I will tell you this, there's no way in the world.
No way. I didn't see anyone trolling you on that.
No, but you bring up a good point. There's no way in the world in the fall of 2017 I would have ever imagined doing a series like that anywhere, much less a place where we get jobs and find clients and business. What I would say is that the response on that was pretty overwhelming. I didn't get one thing that was negative.
Yeah, it was pretty, yeah, it was really good. But just on anytime I've had anything really go off on LinkedIn is when I did a Facebook Live that had nothing to do with sales. It had to do with, I don't know, unconscious bias or racism or whatever, like anything like rant or relationships or feeling lonely. I take that, repurpose it, put it on LinkedIn, and that goes off. But then I know that, you know what, that's not going to win me a lot of clients. It's going to win me applause sometimes, but it doesn't get me the business. So I still do that. But for me, I'm very focused on, I need to create content that's going to get me business and create value for those people that have issues and how I can help them. Because once I divert away and make it about me, I'm not saying not to make it, but like then I start to feel that a lot of times, I get popular, but it doesn't work for my business. If that makes, I don't know if anyone's experienced that, but
you're absolutely right. I mean, Rana and I would be polar opposites as it relates to, and she would definitely. I can speak. She's probably going to blush when I say this, but I would say that I've told her, she's an employment services and sales coach, but she could absolutely write a course and teach people how to be an entrepreneur. Because I've worked alongside her for 2 years with sales and non-sales people, and I can't tell you how many quasi impromptu coaching sessions I've received for free about my content. Not in a criticism, but around, it's what I said the other day. Like, I mean, it's like, if you're not doing something to improve your professional life, that doesn't make it bad, but more than likely the content's just dopamine. It's just dope. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it is what it is.
Absolutely. And couldn't agree more.
She absolutely nailed it.
Absolutely. And see, that's where I guess, for you both to a certain extent, the genuineness comes through and the focus on actually wanting to make a difference in others' lives. And I think that is what basically is ensuring that you both are being successful and are successful in what you're doing, and you're able to inspire and motivate others around you.